What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the LTQ Wrestling Podcast. When we're talking about John Cena versus Gunther potentially happening. One wrestler we feel like that's been underbooked or just badly booked by Triple H. Jim Ross's comments about Michael Cole. Motor City Machine Guns and Lucha Bros potentially arriving in WWE. And CM Punk's comments about the current regime in WWE. So, Tears, how are we feeling today?
I feel like we got some pretty good topics going on, some that I'm actually
Hell
looking
yeah,
forward to.
same here. So let's get into it. So John Cena, obviously, final year, 2025, been talking about how he's going to retire. And there's been a lot of fans saying he should win one more world title. And him and Gunther is apparently a match that's going to happen. So I'll ask you this. Do you want to see that match? And should Cena be the one to dethrone Gunther for the world title?
I don't think so about Gunther. I could be. It depends on when, where, and how. Really, but I would say I can see it. John Cena seems like it's basically his role to be a big milestone for top guys to beat. And I mean, if you look at all the modern day top guys, they at least had to have a match against Cena. So it's kind of like a requirement at this point. But I don't think it's going to be Cena who beats Gunther for the world title. I feel like if we're going to make somebody to beat Gunther for the world title, we need to start building them now. Or maybe we already have with like Dragunov. Because I remember talking about like Dragunov and Gunther I see being the top feud.
Yeah, Dragunov will make a lot of sense. I mean, he has beaten him before. Maybe I don't know about Braun Breaker. He has beaten Gunther too, but
Yeah, but it wasn't as memorable against him like it was Dragunov.
yeah, that's a fact. I don't hate Cena beating Gunther, but I don't feel like I know there's fans out there who really want to see Cena win another world title. I understand that. I just don't know if it really fits. It's tough because I mean I don't know if I really see him beating Gunther. I mean that's tough. I feel like if somebody's gonna beat Gunther, it needs to be somebody like a Braun Breaker or a Dragunov, like Tears said, who could really benefit from it more. And maybe there might be some of y'all who say, well, you could have Cena beat Gunther and then he loses it to somebody or something. I mean, that's a possibility. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm looking at it through a lens of like, what does Cena gain? I know he gains the record world title reign, but like, does that hurt Gunther? I know you're losing to a Hall of Famer, but you're losing to a guy who hasn't won a singles match since 2018. A guy who WWE, and I understand it was under Vince, but they made him look weak. Well, some of it was under Triple H too, but like they haven't really made Cena look like Super Cena really in like 6 years. So I mean, would him beating Gunther right now make a lot of sense? And that's something I got to ask about. Like, would it make sense? Yes, he gets a 17-time world championship or whatever it is, but like, that's the way he's been booked. I just don't see it making sense. Tiz, what do you think?
Now this is just saying a huge if for Cena to have the record. Like maybe he won't even beat the record whatsoever. Because yeah, there's and if Gunther's gonna have a long title run, then by all accounts, for what we know, the title run might last until like the end. Like Cena's already gonna be long gone before Gunther even loses the belt.
That's definitely a possibility. I mean, they had Drew lose because they ain't having Gunther or Cody lose for a long time. Now, who knows how long that time period is? But man, I mean, we'll have to see. Is it a match I want to see? Yes, I think Cena should face a lot of the top guys he hasn't faced in this retirement tour, and Gunther is definitely one of them. Winning, debatable. Definitely let us know in the comments what you guys think about that. I'm curious on if everybody thinks Cena should beat Gunther. Even if you're a Cena fan, leave your fandom aside. What do you think it makes sense for him to beat Gunther? That's something I'm fascinated about. So leave your comments below about that because I'm curious about a lot of the opinions about Cena and Gunther. So still looking forward to Cena's retirement run. I think it'd be very fun. And we'll just have to see if he, like Tier said, even wins a world title throughout this. Because, I mean, it's with the two guys champion right now, I don't really see it happening. I hope I'm wrong, but that's tough. So let's talk about Triple H now. By no means is this me and Tears hating on Triple H. We're just, we could do this with any booker. We could do this with Tony Khan. We could do this with TNA. We could do this with Ring of Honor, New Japan. And every company has somebody that is not booked the way you think they should be booked, or they're not used, or whatever the case. So, Tears, who is one wrestler, male or female? You could give us a male and female, whatever you prefer to do, that has been booked badly by Triple H or not really been featured a lot by Triple H. Who do you have as yours?
I mean, I see a lot of people talking about like names that were like very big, obvious Vince names. Like, remember Rick Boogs, and we had the incident with Riddick Moss / Madcap Moss, whatever you want to call him. Uh, I don't know about Baron Corbin. I mean, I want to say him because, like, on one hand, he's doing good in NXT. However, on the other hand, he did go back to NXT. Like, not that this I'm didn't like the brand, but it's not. It's unfortunately, no matter what you want to say, no Raw or SmackDown. It's not the big shows. So
Not to cut you off,
for the
not my bad, not to cut you off, but he is back on SmackDown now, but he's in a tag team with Apollo Crews. So that's what they got him.
oh that wow
my bad. I was just saying,
that sucks. I gotta say that right now. That kind of sucks. Apollo is also. I mean, I want to say Apollo. He wasn't really doing good prior anyway. For the females, I don't know if this is really saying they're doing bad or just like they have other things on their plate, but I guess Charlotte is a name. Like, I know we say like we were tired of seeing Charlotte all the time, but like now that we have people like up on that level, like Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and stuff, I feel like Charlotte now has competition, and it doesn't feel like they're taking advantage.
I think she's injured right now. I think that's why she's not been featured. I think she got hurt real bad and she's been rehabbing. I think that's why she hasn't been on TV as much, because she got like injured. I think that's the reason.
I mean, I can believe that. It's just I don't know. When it comes to like names, like at first I was gonna say like Austin Theory, hands down, but at the same time, like now it's looking like we might be getting a face run with Creed or not Creed Theory. So
Oh, yeah.
I would retract that statement for Theory.
What about your boy Nakamura? I've heard his name because I see Twitter all the time, like criticizing Triple H. Like I hear Candice LeRae thrown around or Nakamura. Would you put him in that category potentially?
I would love to put him in that category. However, it doesn't even seem like he really is into it that much. He seems to be just fine, like doing his own thing, show up at UFC events, probably just surfing and smoking his favorite cigarettes and all that. I just don't know if Nakamura really cares that much. I mean, yeah, I want him to be in the main event scene, but at the same time, once again, it's about what the wrestlers want more than anything. And if Nakamura just doesn't want to show up, he don't want to show up.
Yeah, I mean he is older too. I mean he might not care if he's a world champion at this point. He's just collecting good money and doing what he wants.
I mean, maybe another name would be the OCs.
Yeah, I forget they're even there half the time, to be honest. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that tells you how late it took me to remember they were there too.
Yeah, they've been not doing too much. Cancel Ray, like I said, is a name I've heard mentioned a lot. Mia Yim, or Mi Chin as she goes by now, she's been featured a lot more on TV lately. So it's tough because fans have different definitions of being underutilized. Like if you lose a lot, some fans consider that. But then you got guys like Gable who lose a lot but are on TV every week, and some fans consider that being booked. So it's like it really just depends what your definition of misbooked is.
Yeah, and plus, like, look at all the people that are in the Wyatt Six now. Those are names that people would have said were misbooked, and now they're part of one of the biggest things going on both shows.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, a lot of people were impressed with Loomis and Rowan and Gacy's performance last night, so that's something for them to go on. So yeah, I mean, there's names you could definitely throw in the hat, but I mean, you could do that with every promoter. It's just depends who you consider. I mean, I get why fans say Nakamura, I know, but I mean, he wasn't really booked well on the main roster in general. I mean, yeah, he won a few Intercontinental titles, and I think he was U.S. champ, if I'm not mistaken. But
I think so. I'm not too sure. I can't even remember. I think wasn't he tag champs with Cesaro?
potentially, I know he held the
I
Intercontinental
remember.
for sure.
I remember like a trios group with him, Sammy, and Cesaro. I might be misinterpreting that. It was during the pandemic era, I believe.
Yeah, maybe it was like him and Sammy. I know him and Sammy were like in a team or something for a little bit. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because that's when they debuted the new, still in my opinion, not good looking Intercontinental belts.
Oh yeah, the newer one. Yeah. So I mean, we all have different opinions. Again, let us know if you guys have anybody you think Triple H has misbooked. I mean, there's going to be people mentioned. Who do you guys think?
And also, what's your favorite
So,
IC belt?
yeah, that too. So next topic, and I've seen a lot of reports about this. Lucha Bros are still in AEW. Motor City Machine Guns are free agents. AEW and WWE both are interested. It's been reported they're leaning towards WWE. And with the Lucha Bros, it's been reported that they're just not happy in AEW. They're going to let their contracts expire later this year, and they could potentially be moved on or moving on to WWE. So, Tears, I'll start with the Motor City Machine Guns. You're a huge fan of theirs. What do you think about them potentially arriving in WWE?
Honestly, I really want to see it. I really badly want it to happen, and I don't normally get to say that about tag teams in WWE. But honestly, I don't care what show they show up on because I just want to see the Motor City Machine Guns. They are one of my favorite tag teams of the modern wrestling era. So hearing that news is really exciting for me. I could see them having great matches with a lot of the tag teams going on. I can't really say there's any in my mind to where like I'm looking the most forward to at the moment, but I can always be surprised on what could be booked. The Lucha Bros, I kind of want to say the same deal. However, I'm still more of a fan of them being like solo on like superstars on their own rights. So I guess I'm more excited for the Motor City Machine Guns team and the Lucha Bros separately in WWE. Like, will they be a tag team still? Yeah, I'll still be happy about that too. But Lucha, I'm just more of the Motor Cities like kind of guy than Lucha Bros.
Well, both tag teams add a lot to the divisions. I mean, both are very talented. And listen, I know there's fans, and have the Lucha Bros been booked perfectly in AEW? No. But they have had some success. I keep seeing some fans saying like, "Oh, the Lucha Bros were buried in AEW. They didn't have any success. They held the tag titles on numerous occasions." So I
And let's not
mean,
forget about the great steel cage match with the Young Bucks.
yeah, like they've had some good moments. Have they been booked that well lately? No, I forget they're even in the company sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I know Phoenix had some heat on him because he hurt Moxley, and I think he hurt somebody else. I don't know if that has to do with it, but there are good moments for them in that company. It's just Tony Khan has so many people on that roster. It's just like some people just disappear, and that's unfortunately what's happened to Lucha Bros. It's gonna be weird seeing the Motor City Machine Guns in WWE. I'm just so used to seeing them in TNA, but I get why they want to leave TNA. They've done everything there is to do in that company. They've been there so long, and it's time for a fresh start. And WWE under
I
Triple H is a
mean,
lot more. Oh, go ahead, Tears.
I mean, I was gonna say like hell, even in TNA they won tag belts on other companies at the same time.
Yeah,
Like
I mean
the
they
IWGP heavyweight titles, or was it the junior? I want to say it's the junior belts, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I know they made an appearance there. Yeah, they probably just want to try something different. It's never a bad thing to do that. Like even Natalia, like she re-signed with WWE, and like I'm just kind of confused why. Like they don't do anything with her. Go try something else. It's never a bad thing to venture out and try other things. I get you're comfortable in that company, but
Probably
still,
brand loyalty.
that probably because she probably won't still be doing anything really relevant, which I'm not complaining because I'm not really a big Natalia fan. Motor City Machine Guns. I think they'll have a great run in WWE. I already see them in DIY potentially being a fun matchup. Usos, I think, will be back together eventually. That would be a fun matchup as well. Hell, even them against the Lucha Bros and a match be fun. So I like both teams going there. I think, yeah, I know all the memes of Triple H doing this. He always does the meme like this, and they show
The point of the dude.
Yeah, like, but there's also a thing of like some fans think Triple H is racist towards Hispanic wrestlers because he thinks fans think he's gonna put the Lucha Bros in the LWO because he puts every Hispanic wrestler in the LWO. I'm not saying that's not a possibility.
Meanwhile, we got Carlito.
Yeah, so I get why some fans are worried. I think they'll be fine though. Triple H cares a lot more about tag team wrestling than Vince did, so I think both of them teams will be big additions to the roster for sure. So I'm looking forward to it. Tears, any final thoughts about those two teams before we move on to the next topic?
It would be very interesting, or not interesting, irritating if the Lucha Bros are part of the LWO, but it feels like the LWO is getting ready to just fizzle out, in my opinion. Like, they just don't have any momentum, and they're just going to be left behind.
Agreed. I haven't really seen them too much. I mean, I see Ray and Zelina Vega occasionally, but like the rest of the group with Santos, I see sometimes, and then you got the other tag team. Yeah, I could see them just kind of being broken up eventually. They don't really seem like they're going anywhere.
Well, not even just broken up, just like winding up just doing their own things.
Yeah,
Not
that
even
too.
noticing that they broke up.
Do you think, I'll ask you this, do you think Andrade being back halted the push of Santos Escobar? Do you think, because Andrade's been getting a lot of big reactions from the fans, him and Carmelo Hayes had a great match on SmackDown the other night. Do you think WWE's going to push one of them guys as the big Hispanic star? Do you think there's a potential of both of them, or do you think Andrade being back pushes Santos to the side a little bit?
I can see the argument that Andrade returning does hinder Santos. I mean, maybe, yeah. Like, putting more thought into it, it does seem like a good analogy to make. But I don't think that should mean that they should just stop whatever storyline Santos was part of anyway. I mean, like, you already built a storyline to where like Santos was turning on Ray, so why not just stick to your guns with that? And Andrade doesn't even seem to be doing anything with hell. He seems to be more involved at the moment with the U.S. belt as a whole. Like, he was doing stuff with the Judgment Day, and now he's doing stuff for the U.S. belt. So you don't need to involve the two together, like, at all for any reason. So you can still have Santos do stuff with the LWO while Andrade does his own thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think they both, like, if you have one on Raw, one on SmackDown. I know Andrade's on SmackDown. I forgot what brand Santos is on. I haven't really seen Santos in a while.
It's
Well,
whatever the LWO is on.
yeah, I think they're on SmackDown with Andrade. Somebody in the comments, let me know if I'm wrong on that. I haven't looked at the rosters in a minute, but I know Andrade's on SmackDown because I recently saw him on there against Carmelo. Yeah, I mean, they don't really have to interact. I mean, maybe they have a match down the line or something, but I mean, I would probably have them all separate brands and see how it goes from there. We'll have to see. I'm a fan of both those guys' work. I think Andrade's been great since his return. I know there's fans who say, well, Andrade don't have a personality. You don't, like, I get that's a big part of WWE, but there's guys who can get over just from work. And I think Andrade's one of them guys. And maybe give him a manager or something. I don't know, but he's done great. It's good to see him back. Well, let's talk about Jim Ross. He made some comments. Yeah, this is some interesting comments. I don't know if fans are gonna agree or disagree. I think it's gonna be both sides of the fence. But he says Michael Cole, quote, does his job better now than I did back then. And that's high praise. And he also said in the interview, paraphrasing a little bit here, but like fans hated Michael Cole because he felt like the fans thought Michael Cole was taking his job, which I mean they kind of were going that direction, it seems like. So Tears, what do you think about Michael or Jim Ross making these statements about Michael Cole, and do you think he's right?
Do you know what's crazy? Recently, I've been watching a lot of older wrestling shows, like uh, the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. Like, I watched the entire build up the Armageddon Hell in a Cell match and listening to JR there. And I just recently rewatched the Raw where Kane electrocuted Shane McMahon's testicles, which is that's a show that all on its own. And honestly, going back to those shows where JR is the primary general or primary commentator, I gotta be honest, like it seems like he was more of a moment voice type of guy because a lot of the time, a lot of the things he said didn't make sense. And with Michael Cole, I can actually see that comment surprisingly because everything he says makes sense. It seems like he's having fun saying it too. And if you're having fun being on commentary, then that means you're definitely doing a great job because you're coming through as authentic. So, and I didn't mean to bash on JR from what it sounds like. It just sounds like his authentic doesn't make sense, unfortunately. Whereas like the by God, he broke him in half, that killed him. Like those are moments, and I think Michael Cole hasn't had too many moments, but he definitely can get them.
Yeah, I mean, both are legendary in their own right. And I do want to say that Michael Cole, listen, I used to hate him, and I realized over the years that it was more Vince telling him to say.
We started like I think it was the 2010 when he was the heel commentary is why we hate him mostly than anything
Yeah, like
because like he was the heel that
2012.
was obnoxious.
Yeah, it was bad. But it was just Vince telling him to say a bunch of stupid stuff and just stuff you go, huh? And he recently talked about Vince, and he said Vince used to say a lot of inappropriate things to him when he didn't say what Vince wanted him to say or the way he wanted him to say it. He was like, yeah, a lot of the stuff he said to me was inappropriate and probably shouldn't be allowed and stuff. And he said it, you know, a lot of people probably said I was Vince's puppet, and a lot of that could be fair to say I was, but I was just doing my job. And now he don't have Vince in his ear anymore, and and Pat McAfee as well has brought a lot of energy from Michael Cole on commentary. I feel like a lot of people don't give Pat enough credit for that. Like Pat and him are such a good duo together. Like they vibe off each other very well in the commentary booth. And Michael Cole, like you said, he's having the time of his life. He's just announcing. He's enjoying what he's doing. He always felt like he was a good commentator, but Vince was kind of just holding him back from actually calling the action and the matches. And now he's actually calling the in-ring work. He's sounding like he knows what's going on, and the fans are, I think, appreciating him a lot more because they realize like this guy's actually a pretty good commentator. It was just Vince being in his ear the whole time. I mean, we saw a little bit of it when he did what show? It was like an NXT UK show, and he actually did a very good job on it because Vince wasn't in his ear. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, we saw glimpses of it, and now we're seeing it all. So.
Yeah, it was during the UK tournament because it was both
Mm-hmm.
McGinnis and Cole. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember which Raw was it that it was during a match. I can't remember the match, and I apologize for rambling about this. But McAfee made a comment, and it just caused Michael Cole to just break down laughing. And McAfee wanted having to say, "I'm sorry," while the match was going on. And something about that just like it feels nice to know like they don't have to like pause or anything. They just went like, no, that was just straight up funny.
Oh yeah, I think it might have been a comment about Ricochet. He was like, "He's quick as a puma," or something. I don't know if it was that, but it was like a Prince Puma reference.
Oh
And
yeah,
Michael
because like McAfee said like a puma, and then because Cole knows what he was mentioning, it was just like, yeah, you can do that. You can't do that.
yeah, they're great as a commentary team. I enjoy their commentary. Corey Graves and Barrett. I don't know. Corey Graves being the lead announcer for me, I did hear at SummerSlam they did announce they're changing the commentary booth. I think they have a new commentator coming in, and Michael Cole will do SmackDown and he will do Raw. So Michael Cole won't be doing both shows because I think it was USA or Fox that wanted him to be on like both shows, and I think he signed a new contract and told him like I'd only prefer to do one, but he'll only be doing SmackDown. But yeah, Michael Cole
Yeah,
deserves a lot of credit. Go ahead, Tears.
I was gonna say like because you can't easily get overbearing if he's on every single show. Because I think that was also why we didn't like him in 2010, like to 2013. I think that's when it when it happened, because he was literally on NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, and since he
Yeah,
was heel Michael Cole, it was just too much.
yeah, it was just hearing him 24/7. It's good to have somebody else's voice in there as well, like a Big Joseph or that new guy they're adding in there. So listen, most of us used to hate Michael Cole. He deserves his flowers. I loved his WrestleMania call after Cody won. I thought it was one of the best calls, if not the best call of his career. It was so good. Really brought the moment. You could tell he was emotional as well. And I know there's fans who criticize emotion because, Samantha Irving is crying when she's announcing, or Michael Cole is crying when he's doing like that. That makes it better to me because it shows they actually care and are into it just as much as we are, and that adds to the moment. So, Tears, any final thoughts about Michael Cole and Jim Ross before we move on?
What does everybody put in your comments who your favorite commentator is?
It's a good
I'm
question.
curious what people have to say. Like for me, I do remember Mauro Ranallo. He was good,
He's really good.
but I think I'm gonna have to lean more towards Nigel McGuinness for WWE, of
He,
course.
he's done very good in AEW, Nigel. I've enjoyed his work there. Yeah, he's very good. Taz is funny in AEW. I'm not saying Taz is my favorite, but Taz makes me laugh on commentary. He'd be saying some funny stuff.
I think Taz is my close number 2 because I just love the the craziness he brings. Like, something about Taz always feels like it's not meant to be said, but he doesn't care.
Yeah, he just says it anyways. Like when he told Tony Schiavone, I don't remember what he said to Tony, but it was just hilarious. He like got mad at him and stuff. It was a fun trip. So yeah, let us know your guys' favorite commentary. It can be from any company. It don't have to be WWE. It can be any promotion. I mean, Ring of Honor's had some great commentators. TNA. What was his name in TNA?
TNA.
You said who for TNA?
Tony Schiavone.
No, not him. He was WCW. Yeah, but
Well, he was in
the
both.
main. Yeah. Both. What's the main commentator's name from TNA? Like back in the day, it was him and the guy who passed away a few years ago. I can't think of his name. He's not in wrestling anymore. He was in WCW and then he went to TNA.
That sounds like Tony Schiavone.
It's not Tony Schiavone. No, it's he was like the main voice of TNA and then he retired like in 2017.
And I know who you're talking about. I have the face. For some reason, I was thinking that was Tony Schiavone, but no, Tony Schiavone's not in, or was in AEW.
Yeah. Mike Tenay, that's his name. Mike Tenay. He was a very good. Yes.
Him and Taz I think him and Taz was my favorite duo because Mike Tenay just has like that professionalness, and then you have the bombardment of Taz.
Yeah, they bind off each other very well. I agree. So yeah, let us know. I mean, TNA, Ring of Honor, WWE, AEW. If you have a favorite AEW commentator, let us know. So final top.
The duo. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say like the duo did kind of stale on me when Taz was part of Aces and Eights. I feel like that was when the duo didn't work for me.
Yeah, I could get that. So final topic, CM Punk. He recently said that Vince not being there anymore is a huge part of why he's back. It's not either one of their faults. There was just so much animosity and bad blood there that it just probably wasn't going to work out in a reunion. But he says, Triple H is approachable. He feels like it's more of a laid back atmosphere. Talent can actually talk to Triple H. It's, just more laid back. People ain't standing outside a door for 6 hours like they used to do with Vince. But he said about the current WWE regime, he said if this WWE regime was in place 10 years ago, he would have still stayed in WWE. And that was an interesting quote, I feel like. So, Tiz, what do you think about CM Punk making this statement?
I could definitely agree with that because, like, if you were to look at it from back then, like, it was just like, you got to talk to this guy to figure out to talk to this guy. And it was just like a big old ring around the rosy. You're not talking to Vince, so don't even try type scenario. Whereas now it's just like, even if there's like a rumor that you have a problem, Triple H will talk to you. And also, like, if you were not a valued individual for WWE, Vince ain't going to talk to you. If you're too valued, Vince is going to see if you want to talk to him or something like that. So I could definitely say, like, now it just definitely seems like there's more, like, there's more teamwork involved instead of just listen to what I say and do what I say type stuff. Which I think teamwork is definitely important for this situation.
Oh, definitely. And obviously, Triple H and Punk didn't always get along, but I feel like they buried the hatchet. Yeah, and I think I remember one of our friends on PlayStation, WWE fan. I don't really talk to him, but he's like a CM Punk like diehard. I think that's an understatement. But I think he was saying like, "Oh, there's no way Punk would ever come back and work for Triple H." And I told him like, in wrestling, you never say never in wrestling. It happened. So
I mean, we had Bret Hart come back in 2010, and in 2014, 15, we had the Ultimate Warrior come back. So
yeah, and then now I'm terrible with names today. He's an announcer in WWE in the '80s. He's now back, and what's his name?
Ace Ventura,
Ace Ventura. Yeah. He's back now that Vince is gone. He's back, and a lot of people wouldn't know that. Yeah, Ace Ventura is no Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura.
Oh my god! Oh, sorry, yeah. Oh my god! I can't believe I just did that.
I knew it was Ventura, but I couldn't think of the first name. I knew it was Ace or Jesse Ventura for sure. Yeah. So
I feel so dumb now.
I couldn't think of it either, so don't feel bad. But yeah, Jesse Ventura, he had a bad blow with Vince, apparently over royalties. Nobody ever thought he'd be back in WWE, and Triple H got him back in there.
Yeah, because Jesse Ventura wanted to do a lot of things with his name, I believe, and Dean Vince, which wanted to like keep the name. But Jesse was popular outside of WWE too. I mean, wasn't he a mayor, governor? I'm pretty sure one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things to where like the dude was just able to be popular without Vince, and he knew it. And Vince knew that too, but he wanted to make sure that he still had him somehow.
Yeah, Vince wants to own you as much as he can and make as much money as off you as he possibly can. Jesse didn't like that. He left. Now he's on good terms. Not sure if he's going to be involved in any way. He just was backstage, which is good to see. It seems like Triple H is really trying to mend fences that Vince broke, which is always a good thing. You always want to mend fences just in case. You never know. But for me, with Punk saying this, I'm not really surprised. I mean, Vince, he didn't care about his wrestlers. I mean, there were guys who were hurt. He didn't care. He didn't. We talked about with Hedgehog and James. He didn't let people have days off. Really. Yeah, like Punk was seriously hurt. Vince, probably told him like, "Oh yeah, you'll be fine," or "We won't have you do too much," or whatever, blah blah blah. And then he put him against Ryback. He got hurt even more. I mean, I get why Punk left. I do. I know a lot of fans think he was just mad and butthurt and all that other stuff. I mean, and Punk's controversial. Don't get it twisted. He's very controversial, but I mean, yeah, like, but none of us were there to know how he was treated backstage. I mean, Vince has a history of treating people like absolute garbage, and I'm sure Punk. I mean, let's be honest, Punk's not Vince's typical main event looking star, anyways. I mean, he kind of got over on his own, and Vince probably was just going to work him until he couldn't work him no more and make as much money as he couldn't no more. So, I mean, I get why Punk left. This current regime seems like they got it all figured out. They know that wrestlers need time off. They've been giving a lot of wrestlers more time off, more breaks, and that's a great thing. So I'm not mad about it. I do think it makes sense. Tears, do you think it's more of Punk actually meaning a lot of this, or do you think it's more of him knowing like, okay, this is my final shot in wrestling. If I burn the bridges here again, I'm not going back to AEW. I'm not going back to WWE. This is it for me. Do you think this is Punk being honest, or do you think this is him being like, okay, this is my final shot in wrestling. I need to actually be on my best behavior and make the most of it. What do you think?
I think there is definitely a reason to think that because Punk definitely like had his own thought processes about things, and he not really one to really let the whole story be known. Um, but I feel like there is some merit of truth to what he has to say, and he's always been a lively individual with what he has to say. And I'll put it this way: I don't think he would give compliments unless he actually has a merit of truth to them. Because if you look at everybody he's ever worked with, he does not compliment a lot of people.
No, you're right. I mean, he didn't comment a lot of people in AEW really like that. I mean,
Yeah, because I actually can't think of anybody he gave kudos to. Because did he say anything positive about MJF?
I think he did. I know he's complimented Darby Allin. I know he's a big fan of Darby for sure.
I know he talked shit about John. He talked shit about Jungle Boy of all people. He talked shit about Khan. He's one of those people to where like if he compliments you, that's a dime a dozen. Well, not dime a dozen, but like very rare. Now, does it mean anything to some people? I wouldn't really say so. He has more people that he hates than likes.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he did give Cena a lot of flowers. I know that. I think that was his favorite person to work with in WWE. AEW. I mean, I've really just heard Darby, Britt, and MJF. I mean, I haven't really heard nobody else get too many compliments. I mean, Young Bucks, Kenny, all them ain't gonna get no comments. And for anybody who thinks Kenny and Punk hate each other, I don't think they do. I think they were both just in a bad situation at a wrong time towards each other. Because I think Kenny said on his podcast, or not his podcast, but like a Twitch stream he had up, like I don't hate Punk. It's just stuff happened. So
Yeah, it's just bad correlation.
yeah, like it just stuff happens. So I don't think they really hate each other. I know he hates the Young Bucks and Hangman Page and Jungle Boy. I know that for a fact. So I'm glad to see Punk having a fun time. I haven't been the biggest fan of him and Drew's feud, like just him screwing Drew constantly. I feel like they did it too many times. But I mean, the match at SummerSlam told a story. I do think it's kind of, and I might get a little bit of hate for saying, but I do think it's kind of cheesy that he cared more about that bracelet than actually kicking Drew's ass that he said he was going to. I mean, I will say that, but all in all,
As long as we don't get a bracelet on a pulp match.
yeah, I hope not. I mean, they had
Because
Punk
people are
worried about that damn thing the whole match.
yeah, I can understand him and no GTS Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I mean, that was just like, I get it has your wife and dog's name on it, but like, is it that important where you are gonna lose a match because of it? Like, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. So, there's any final thoughts before we wrap up this episode on anything?
Let me get this feud done good for Hell in Cell.
Hopefully.
Because I like where we're going, that we're actually having matches to get between the two now, but at the same time, it's like I just want it to be done. I want to see what Punk does on his own. I want to see what Drew can do on his own.
Yeah, unfortunately though, I feel like Punk will win this and they'll have a final trilogy match at maybe TLC or something. Rollins, I know there's fans who were saying like, why are they not doing him and Rollins? He's still involved with Drew for one.
He's too
Yeah,
involved.
yeah, like, and I know Rollins has been involved in this feud, but they need to get that feud settled. So I think Bronson re-attacking Rollins was kind of a way of like taking Rollins off TV for a little bit, and maybe have him and Bronson feud for a while, and then do him and Punk towards a bigger show. So we'll have to see.
I feel like we should have had a triple threat between them, honestly. Because if you think about it, their feud screwed Rollins out of the title.
Yeah, it did.
So I feel like a triple threat between the three should have happened, but I'm not mad that they're finding a way to get Rollins out of it. I just feel like he's kind of being forced out of it.
Yeah, I could see why you say that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where they're gonna go with this. I do think Punk and Rollins are eventually gonna have a match. Punk and Drew or Punk and Drew. Rollins and Drew have fought each other a good amount. I mean, they fought each other at Mania, so I don't know if that's going to
like 3
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think they're going to go with that again. They'll definitely do Drew or Punk and Rollins one more time, and I'm okay with that. I mean, it was supposed to happen at Mania, so I mean, they're probably going to save it for next year's Mania potentially. We'll have to see though. I mean, WWE has a lot of stuff they're going with, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.